Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we're checking out the new 4 Dawnbringer boxes for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So first of all I want to say a massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending us these early review copies to have a look at, unbox, review and paint up for the site. So if you don't know, the Dawnbringer Crusade series is a new narrative supplement series for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, telling the tale of Sigmar's Dawnbringer Crusades as they venture out into two realms. One crusade will succeed, one crusade will fail. Sounds really cool, with multiple books and loads of cool narrative moments going on. And alongside it, what they're doing is releasing models for various races and factions, and as part of that, similar to the boarding action boxes we got for 40k for the Arcs of Omen series, we're getting these Dawnbringers boxes for Age of Sigmar. So what's really cool is that these all contain a selection of old models for a faction along with a brand new character model too. Now I suspect that these character models will be available separately sometime in the future. However, at the moment this is going to be the only place to get them for the time being, but they look pretty good value, a selection of nice units in them too. So in this video what we're going to do is have a look at the 4 boxes, see what's in them, have a look at new models, and then towards the end of the video what we're going to do is have a look at the completed painted models and hopefully talk about their rules at that point too. But yeah, let's jump ahead. So yeah, there's 4 here. Fjori's Flamebearers for the Fyreslayers, Braggit's Bottle-Snatchaz for the Gloomspite Gitz, we've got Jerrion's Delegation for the Flesheater Box, and Phulgoth's Shudderhood for the Maggotkin of Nurgle. So yeah, we're going to have a look at all these and check out what's in them. So first of all, let's have a look at the one that I know a lot of people have been excited for, the Nurgle Box, Phulgoth's Shudderhood. So this is a really cool looking set. You get inside it 5 Blight Kings, 2 Pusgoyle Blight Lords, and then the new Harbinger of Decay, which is like a reimagined version of that old Nurgle Chaos Sorcerer on horse. Really cool. Very John Blanche. I can't wait to paint this thing up. He's got a couple of different weapon options too. You can give him a scythe or like a bell on a stick. I think I'll give him the scythe because that's iconic looking, isn't it? So yeah, let's crack this open and have a look what we get inside. So I'll pop that to one side. We'll have a look at the instructions in a little bit, but in here we get the kits. So obviously a lot of these kits, you know, kits that you'd have built before. So we've got the Pusgoyle Blight Lords, which are really nice kind of mortal cavalry unit for your Nurgle. Again, we're not going to look at the existing kits too much because we've all seen these before. And the Blight Kings we get in there too, which are a really nice kit. About 250 points as well, so a couple of units of these and a few heroes, and you've got a Nurgle army too, which is handy. But the star of the show is the new mounted character, the Harbinger, and this guy looks absolutely gorgeous. So you know he is mounted to his horse, so if you did want to kind of use that horse for something else, there'll be a lot of cutting that you need to do. But yeah, he is very cool. I'm very much looking forward to painting this guy up because he looks amazing. We'll have a quick look at the instruction manual just to see if there's anything funky about him going together. I don't think there's too many options on him, bar the alternate kind of head and scythe. But yeah, it should be fairly simple to go together, this guy. So yeah, you've got a couple of head options and you've got a couple of weapon options. Other than that, the rest of it's fairly standard. So yeah, I think I'm going to do him horned head and scythe maybe, because that looks cool. And then the rest of it is what you'd expect. It's the build instructions for the other kit in the box. What I'm going to do is just jump forward, see if we've got any rules for him on here. So yeah, we have just got simplified rules. So hopefully by the time this video goes out I might have the rules for him that I can talk about. The time of filming this I haven't seen them yet, but if I have I'll stick them in the video. So yeah, that is the Nurgle box. Let's have a look at the next box, which is Jerrion's Delegation for the Flesheater Box. So the Flesheater Box have had a couple of new models this year. They've had the Warcry warband, and they had the model that they released over Christmas. And we've got another new Flesheater Box character in this box. Now unfortunately we've still got the old ghouls, which are a bit of an older kit, but hopefully, you know, we should have another Battle Tome coming out this year, and fingers crossed we get some new goodies for the Flesheater Box. This box is a good sign they might get some stuff anyway, and it's a pretty decent box. We get the 20 ghouls in there, you get 3 Crypt Horrors and 3 Crypt Flayers, but obviously you could build either of those as whatever variation of Crypt, whatever you want to build. And then you get the Marrow Scroll Herald, which is another big horrible looking Flesheater Box character, and he looks amazing too. So let's crack these open and have a look at what he looks like. So again, I'm not really going to have a look at the existing kits because we've seen those before, but what I'm going to do is pull out the new character because he does look very cool. He looks like he might be a bit of a fiddly one to build, so yeah, bear that in mind if you may be new to building miniatures. We'll have a look at the instructions and see how he goes together, because I've got a feeling he might be a little bit of a fiddly one, and yeah, it looks like he is. So looks like I might need to juggle a few parts at the same time with this one. He looks very, very cool, but there's a lot of small bits that might be a little bit tricky to use on this one. So yeah, and as before we get the Crypt Ghouls, which we've seen before, and the Crypt Flare kit, and obviously you've got the 2 variations that you can build. There's actually 3 variations in total you can build from that kit. And then a look at the Herald's little war scroll there, and the other ones there. So yeah, hopefully we see the full rules for these guys, but yeah, that looks a really cool box. Next up is Braggit's Bottle-Snatchaz. This is a very squig heavy box, and Dave's going to paint this one up for the review, but I'm very tempted to pick up this box to yeah, have a bit of a squig for. So I'm thinking of doing orcs and goblins in the old world, so it might be quite fun using this box to have you know, obviously all the squigs in there I can use, and then some of the Gobblepalooza and stuff uses heroes. For Age of Sigmar, obviously this is cool, you get lots of squigs, you get the Gobblepalooza, you get the new character, so yeah, looks really, really cool, and the new character's got little bat squigs flying around him, which is always awesome. So yeah, let's crack this open and have a look at this. Again, this looks a really good one. Off the top of my head, I think these boxes are about £80 each, so if you think you're getting a discount really on the squigs and the Gobblepalooza, and then you're getting the character thrown into the mix too, so have a look at that in a second. We've got all sorts in here. That is the Gobblepalooza frame, we've seen him before. That looks like our new hero maybe. Where are we? That is our new hero, so let's have a look at him. And again, really, really nice kit. This is the Rubble Rouser, so he kind of gets all the grots kind of G'd up to get ready to fight in. Nice little bit of a sculpted bit that he's standing on too, so that's really nice. And obviously in there as well you get the squig herd and the squig hoppers too, so really nice little set. And again, like we've done with the other ones, we'll have a quick look at the instructions, see how he goes together, but I can't imagine him being too difficult. So let's have a look. Yeah, he's going to be a fairly straightforward build. Doesn't look like there's any options for heads or anything, so he just goes together, paint him up, and then obviously you've got a lot of other models in there like the Gobblepalooza. But yeah, really, really looking forward to seeing this one. Like I said, Dave's going to paint up this one, so at the end of the video you should see what these guys look like. But yeah, they look really, really fun. Yeah, the Rubble Rouser looks really cool painted up with his little bat squigs flying overhead. So that looks like a fun box as well. And then finally, we've got the final of the 4 boxes, which is Fjori's Flamebearers. So it's a Fyreslayer box. I've got a Fyreslayer army painted up in blues and icy colours of Frostslayers. Again, for the purpose of the review, Dave's going to paint this one. I'm going to paint the first 2, the Flesheaters and the Nurgle Lord. So yeah, Dave's going to do these because he wants to do a bit of an allied Fyreslayer force to some of his armies, so that'll be really fun. In the box, we get some Orth Hearthguard, some Hearthguard Berserkers, some Volkite Berserkers, and the Grimhall Exile. So again, a nice selection of units in this one. So let's crack this open again. Have a look inside again. We get a lot of frames, so a lot of these are the existing kits. that we've seen before. So yeah, lots of options. The kits have got a couple of different builds available on them too, so you don't necessarily have to build them as what's listed on the box. You could, you know, maybe split those up a little bit more, but yeah, the Fyreslayers kits are pretty customizable like that. So even the instructions, well, the instructions will give you both options, but you could just build one big unit of 10, you know, Hearthguard if you wanted. But the main event here is the new character, and I know the Fyreslayers have got a lot of single characters, and I'd really like to see them get a new unit at some point. It's still a cool model, so yeah, Dave's going to be painting that one up for the review, and he looks pretty cool. I quite like him. So yeah, and again, we'll have a quick look at the instructions before we jump to the future and have a look at the painted models. And again, it doesn't look like there's too many options on the new hero, so he's pretty much just a standard clan pack model when he comes out. The biggest kit really of these new characters is the Nurgle one, and again, this is the same kit that builds both of these, so you could just build 10 of one option if you wanted to, and then you get the 10 Volkite Berserkers that you can again arm with a few different weapon options. So lots of options on this one. But yeah, what we're going to do is jump to the future, where we're going to have the models painted up, have a bit of a look at them, see what they look like in the flesh, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about the rules and some lore about the Dawnbringers Crusade too. So catch you in a second. And here's a look at the first of the 4 models that are introduced in these Dawnbringer boxes, and that is the Harbinger for the Nurgle Force. I've got to say, this is an absolutely amazing model, and I thoroughly enjoyed painting it up. It's got a really kind of like old school Warhammer fantasy vibe to it. I built it with the scythe in the end because it looked cool, and then pretty much immediately after I'd built it, I got the rules in the Dawnbringer book. But to be fair, I really like the look of the scythe, and I think it's potentially the better. It depends what you want to do with the guy. So this guy, essentially, he's a priest for the Maggotkin of Nurgle, which is really good. It gives us our first priest model for them. Obviously, that's got lots of cool options in there. If you give him the scythe, it gives him 2 attacks that have got 3 damage, so he's got a little bit of punch to him. If you give him the bell instead, basically it's got a 14-inch aura that has a -1 to movement, to run, and to charge. So that's pretty cool, but I prefer the look of the scythe on this guy. It looks really, really cool. So the different boxes can be taken by the Grand Alliances. So essentially, if you've got a Chaos Army that isn't Nurgle, you can take the contents of that box and include it in your army as a Regiment of Renown, which is really cool. The Regiment of Renown itself, off the top of my head, they all get a 5+ ward save. They all get to heal a wound in your hero phase as well, and then -1 to hit from shooting. So really, really nice little unit to take. Now obviously, if your general's got the Nurgle keyword, you can just take this guy as a hero, but obviously you don't get access to that Regiment of Renown. I suspect over the course of the Dawnbringer books they'll bring out more of these to give you some more kind of options to play with. But yeah, they're really, really cool, and I think a lot of people will be picking these up to stick them in an army because the models look absolutely gorgeous. So that is the first guy. Next up, I painted the new Flesheater Box model, and he is really cool too. I very much enjoyed painting this one up. I've got a few Flesh Eaters, but not many of them, so it was nice to work on this guy for a change, because you know, it's something quite different. One of the problems with the Flesheater Courts is that a lot of their models are very old. They're Warhammer Fantasy models, aren't they? And I hope that if they get the new battle tome, which I think is dropping at the end of the year, that we get some new infantry and stuff. We've had a couple of cool new characters now, and this guy looks really, really nice, so I kind of hope we get lots of goodies that kind of expands on this. But yeah, from a gameplay mechanic, this guy's quite interesting in that when he charges in, the opponent has to choose one of two debuffs essentially. They can either give all Flesheater Courts within 3 inches of themselves strikes first, basically allowing them to go first before the target, or they can basically get cursed by his little bit of bone and horrible stuff that he's holding in his hands. And that means that for the rest of the game, if they want to receive a command, cast a spell, or do a prayer, they've got to pass a bravery test. So some armies won't care about that, others it will make a big difference if you're kind of a low bravery army, or you've got things that can kind of play with bravery. It's potentially going to mess things up for you, so he's quite an interesting character. The Regiment of Renown, I think off the top of my head, can run in charge, and they get a 6+ ward save as well. So again, pretty nice. So that is the Flesheater Court Herald. Next we've got the Grimhall Exile. Dave painted up this one. Now this is essentially the last survivor of a hold, like a reverse slayer, so rather than being forced into his life by shame, he is kind of holding on and carrying the last flame of his Magna Hold, which is pretty fun. This guy has got a mechanic where once per game, the thing that he's fighting, he rolls a number of dice equal to their wounds characteristic, and then for each 4+ it does a mortal wound. So something like a Mega Gargant or something, you're rolling, what, 30 dice potentially? And spike high on that, you could do a lot of damage, so he's a bit of a monster hunter. The Regiment of Renown kind of reflects that too, where nearby monsters can't control objectives, and also you can't use monstrous rampages from monsters on that kind of regiment as well, so that's pretty cool. Again, the Fyreslayers is another one where I'd like to see a few more infantry units added at some point in the future, but this is a really, really cool character. I like how he's kind of jumping up with the kind of flames trailing from his axes. So yeah, really, really fun one. So that is the Grimhall Exile. And then lastly, we've got the Rubble Rouser, the Goblin character. So again, Dave painted this one up because he's keen to start a Gloomspite Gitz army, and yeah, he really enjoyed painting this one up. He's an interesting unit. So his gimmick is that monsters, they can run and charge, which is really cool. You can get Kragnos, you know, charging across the battlefield with that. However, there is a downside that they have to end any move closer to the Rubble Rouser, which means that if you put him, well, in most places safe on the battlefield in the first turn, your monster's going to have to move towards him. So if you've got some way of like slingshotting him across the battlefield or getting him down the other end, then obviously they've got a target to charge towards. Also when a monster ends near him, he takes d6 mortal wounds too, so it's going to be really, really tricky to use this guy. Potentially some really cool you know, options for him, but in practice I think he's going to be a little bit of a tricksy one to work with. Now the Regiment of Renown is quite cool. Basically, if you do a redeploy on anyone in the box, the rest of the units within the box get to do that too. So lots of shenanigans and move around and stuff. In addition, they can basically deep strike as well. So you deploy them off the board, and at the end of any turn they can deploy on the board more than 9 inches away from the enemy, so that's pretty fun as well. So I really like all the abilities that the different boxes have got. Now obviously don't forget, you have to be the same Grand Alliance but a different faction in order to get them. So for these Gloomspite, for example, an Uruk army or an Ogre army could take them, but a Gloomspite Gitz army couldn't take them. You just have to buy this character and just have him as part of your normal army. I don't mind that. I guess if they keep releasing these boxes over the course of the Dawnbringer series, it means that everyone's going to have an option to take one alongside their army too. So yeah, that is the models from the Dawnbringer boxes. Now we have had a read of the Dawnbringer Crusades Book 1, the Harbingers 2. I have got a full write-up of that over on spruesandbrews.com, but I want to have a quick chat about it now. Essentially, it is a narrative supplement, so Path to Glory. If you're kind of all about the story of Age of Sigmar, then that's one that you're going to enjoy, because it is good fun. The main focus really is on Path to Glory. So the last Path to Glory supplement that we had was the Thunder book, which was excellent. I very much enjoyed that book, but we haven't really had much for Path to Glory since then. So it's really nice to see a book that focuses heavily on Path to Glory, because that's really my favourite way of playing Age of Sigmar. I'm not really a hardcore tournament player, as regular fans will know. I'd much rather kind of tell a story and roll some dice, and this book very much lets you do that with a few new additions to Path to Glory, such as being able to take one of these characters and level them up through their own unique kind of like leveling up tree. In addition to that, you get a few new options for your stronghold as well. So you can take like communications outposts that let you basically make pleas to other members of your Grand Alliance to get a bonus. So for example, if you're a Stormcast player, you could try and get the attention of the Sylvaneth, who might grow a Wildwood on the battlefield for you. So again, all nice narrative stuff. Obviously you get the rules for all these characters and their regiments of renown in there as well. For people who are picking them up who've got a different Grand Alliance, the rules for the other units in the box are also included in the book too, so you've got everything you need all in one place. Like I say, the real focus really is the story and the Path to Glory stuff. The story I don't want to go too much into, because I think it's kind of best to explore these yourself, but it's very much the initial steps of the Dawnbringer Crusades. So we don't see them really kind of start mobilising out until the end of the book. Really, it's telling a dual story between Giran, the Realm of Life, and actually the Realm of Fire, and kind of what's happening in them just before this big Dawnbringer Crusade kind of splits out from those twin cities to take those two realms. We get a few teasers in there of what might be happening as well. So there's mentions of, I think he's called the Summer King, who is a Flesheater's character, and mentions of maybe an army of Troggoths coming as well. So there's some fun stuff there that hopefully points to some future releases. But yeah, really enjoyed it as a book 1. I hope that book 2 comes soon and we maybe get the Cities of Sigmar book alongside it, because I think that would be really nice to have to kind of I guess allow you to put on your own Dawnbringer Crusades as well. Maybe a Path to Glory mechanic around the Dawnbringers too, to kind of capture what they're about. So the full write-up of that is over on spruesandbrews.com if you want to read that. I can go into some more detail on the book. I've also got images of these models and the sprues and all that stuff over there too. We've also got our review of the new General's Handbook over on the website too. So Andy's written that one up, so check that out. Again, all this will be linked in the description. And if you're a Blood Bowl fan, we've also got a video and review of the new Gutter Bowl supplement, which allows you to play games of Blood Bowl in like the city streets and the sewers and stuff. So that's really fun. So check that out. That will most likely pop up as a suggested video at the end of this one too. If you have enjoyed this, we do lots of unboxings and reviews on here. We have a painting stream. We're going to be doing some battle reports again soon with a focus on smaller games, so Warcry and Path to Glory at lower points levels, and the kind of stuff that you don't tend to see much online, rather than the big kind of like 2,000 point battles. We'll still occasionally do them, but I think we'd kind of like to focus on those smaller games because they don't get much love, and again all the narrative stuff as well, so stay tuned for all that. If you do want to support the site as well, we've got an affiliate link to Element Games in the description. If you buy from that, it helps basically support the site. We get a bit of a kickback, and it helps go to all the running costs and everything. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Let us know which of the Dawnbringer boxes you're planning on picking up in the comments. I'm tempted to pick up the Goblins myself after painting up the Nurgle and the Flesheater ones. And yeah, hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.